You don't have the perfect life. Just start with creating the perfect day. And the perfect day exercise is about really going outside of the box. Can you create something beautiful for yourself with how you think, how you feel, and you act? Of course you can. Creating your perfect life is something you can do one day at a time. What do I really want to do? I mean, have we got focus? Have we got clarity? How do I really want to feel? I want a big house, a nice job, wonderful relationship. Why? Because how is that going to make me feel? Peace, happiness, and joy. So that's what we need to create for ourselves. Ships are built, they don't just come in. Creating your perfect life is an exercise that's about going inward and really settling down, settling the dust, and getting to the brass tacks of what we really want and how we're going to get it. Now, if you have no vision, you're not going to hold it in your hand. You really need to see it to believe it. So that's what we do. We practice. We go into thinking, feeling, and actually how we're going to behave on our perfect day. We hit life head on and challenge what we want to see, how we want to feel, who we want to be. Science is pretty clear on how we create the lives that come from how we think, feel, and act. So if you can create dis-ease for yourself with negative thoughts, negative feelings, depression leads to heart problems and stress and all sorts of things, then the reverse is also true. Thinking about what I really want, about positivity, gratitude, and being able to actually feel and see these things and how my perfect day would look really goes beyond trying to attract, because you become the change. We can create the life we envision for ourselves, a life that has purpose and meaning, and a life that we can use to transform ourselves, others, and then the world. There's no boundaries with this exercise. So we need to move into more loving, peaceful, and productive states to attract those states to us. That's how it works. Everything is relative. Energy equals mass. All things are relative. We have causes and effects, and of course, effects that cause change. This aligns with modern teachings, it aligns with ancient teachings, and I really think that the prophets, mystics, monks, and masters have always taught us that what we see, feel, and believe is who we become. And Proverbs 29 teaches that where there is no vision, man will perish. So the mindful path to creating your perfect day is not hoping to stumble upon some good luck, some good wins in your life, but rather by creating these things in advance. We're allowing, as Wayne Dyer would say, we're allowing the boat to drive us forward, and we're seeing the wake behind us. He would say, the wake cannot drive the boat. And this is what I think he meant. You know, we don't have to wait for the Newtonian world of cause and effect. We don't live long enough, to be honest. What we want to do is cause effect. We want to be the creators of our destiny. And, you know, this is starting with the Miracle Morning, the 5 a.m. Club, all sorts of ways we're starting to see that we can influence, adapt, and model our lives for the better. So simply what you do before the world clamors for your attention every day is do the perfect day exercise. There's a couple of meditations and so on, and what we do is we start by finding a quiet moment, finding some space that we can carve out, not as a routine, but as a kind of a healthy spiritual ritual for ourselves. It's not about checking a box on a to-do list. It's about touching on the hem of something larger than ourselves. So it's about going within and then remembering, before the day's demands take hold, who we really are at our core, what we want, and what we're here to achieve in terms of meaning and purpose. Meaning is how we change our lives. When we change what things mean to us, the path becomes straight, clear, and flat. So there are 3 gentle invitations to start the practice. You can start with mindfulness, how a leaf would be floating on a stream, sort of watching our thoughts drift by, getting into a calm space and not judging or clinging to those thoughts, but simply, observing them. So like clouds passing by in a vast sky of our own being, for example. So we start with the observation, and then we start visualizing, not daydreaming really, but feeling the future we wish to create. Seeing ourselves not just achieving, but really embodying the joy, the gratitude, the love that accompanies those achievements. So we start, as we wake up, planting seeds in our subconscious that are going to sprout and change our day and create something new. So we start by believing in the blossom before it appears. And of course, it's also emotional conditioning. This is the deepest of the work, I think. It's the understanding that our emotions are not just reactions. And another invitation is emotional reconditioning. What we've got to understand is our thoughts are not just sort of ships that pass by. We can create with them. Our emotions are not just reactions, but creations. These creations we can choose in that quiet space and then start to cultivate feelings from them. In other words, we're making something, we're creating something from a thought to a feeling that is going to be an action. And if we want gratitude, joy, and love, for example, not a fleeting kind of gratitude or joy, but a constant companion or two that become part of our daily lives, we must at least be able to see what one day looks and feels like. We must be able to see it, because when we can see it in our head, we can hold it in our hand. So we start with the visualization. We wake up, and what is our perfect day going to look like? What do the sheets feel like? What color are they? What window are you looking out of? What carpets do you have? We really get into vividly imagining your ideal day without any limitations. Go wild. There are no boundaries. It's not about being practical. It's about using your imagination, your intention, creating sensory details that engage all your senses so that your visualization is multi-sensory. You can actually feel it. And to do this, we actually go into, what do you hear when you wake up? What are the sounds outside, inside your house? What can you taste and smell? Really get into becoming multi-sensory in the process. And in this way, an emotional connection starts to happen. And that's really where the magic sets in. The emotions you experience on your perfect day are something that your mind will then tend to create. And I think this is what people tend to do with visualization. They tend to see it first, and then it walks out into their life like a kind of a synchronicity. People describe how certain things just seem to arrive. A letter in the post, an email, someone calls with a job offer, you meet someone passing by at a random event. These synchronicities are very, very related to emotional connection, visualization, and actually being aware that these things are happening. Sometimes we're so hooked in, jacked up and caught up into our daily lives that we miss the synchronicities, the beauty, the opportunities. So being able to see, to smell, to taste really is a mind-body connection at another level, an interconnectedness of thoughts, feelings, and physical sensations. So we contemplatively get to pay attention to those sensations, thoughts, and feelings in creating this perfect day exercise. So we start with creating this positive morning for ourselves and feeling those sheets. And so we get to look in the mirror into our own eyes, at our own face, and get to see the authentic self, the perfection of who we really are. And let your imagination run wild. As I said, there's no limits and no boundaries except those of the mind, the personality, and the story that we've been running year after year about how we might not be good enough, how we got a raw deal, how these things that we want aren't available to us. They really, really are available to us. All we need to do is be able to see it, to believe it. As you practice, you can take the day further and you walk out into your house. What does it look like? Who's there? Do you have a significant other? What do your pets look like? Are they two Labradors that you might not even have considered in normal daily life? What do you want, and how do you want to feel when you have those things? So you really get in touch with that elevated feeling that elevated sense of joy, having everything that you've ever wanted into life for yourself. You drive off in your car to work. What kind of car is it? What does it smell like? Where do you work? In the city, in nature, in the country? What kind of work do you do? So contemplative practice of any kind is about reimagining, re-seeing, and essentially unlearning limitations that the personality has really put together to keep us safe from further disappointments of not getting what we had. But, the chances are, if you're doing this kind of work today, you're probably ready for a life-transforming experience, a spiritual awakening, whatever you want to call it. It really is available to everybody. You just have to believe, and then secondly, effort, do the work to get there. And this is practice. Adam and Eve left the Garden of Eden and they were told they're going to have to plant seeds and grow food. That over time has got easier for all of us. And that's how it is with this work. Once we begin, the possibilities and the creative ideas really start flowing, and creation itself is really strong within all of us. When we don't have the limitations of the personality, the perfectionist, the controlling insurgents that sort of keep us stuck in uniform and stuck in the habit of being who we were 5 years ago. When we break the bonds of those things, we start to create. And the universe really does respond. When we create, we get those synchronicities back. In other words, we get answers to our prayers. We get to knock, but the door opens. We get to ask and then receive. First with your intention, with clear focus. Where that focus is, goes all your energy, goes your matter, your thoughts, your feelings, and everything else that runs through it, including the consequences of who you're going to be in the next 2 to 5 years. It really is one of my favorite exercises to do with people. And it's amazing what people come back with, and how in a short span of time, just a couple of weeks, people really start seeing what they're creating, like a Sims game. They've got this whole home for themselves. They've got this whole life. And it doesn't really surprise me, I'll be honest, how often I hear that things are coming true for people who do this work of walking into their perfect day and then walking into their perfect life. So we hope you enjoy the exercise and really give it a try over the next couple of weeks. Do the walking into my perfect life meditation and the other walking into your perfect day exercises and meditations, and see what happens. The gloves are off in this life. Everything is possible, and we can apply that to even healing and transforming our lives. Never do we stay depressed or stuck or coping with anxiety or something that holds us back from what we really want. So we get to move the personality away that defends us and keeps us safe from disappointments and things that possibly were out of our reach as children. And we go out and we grasp these things and we create something beautiful for ourselves.